Hi, today I'm going to walk you through setting up the Incra Miter Express and the Incra 1000 SE miter gauge on my SawStop CTS. I hit a couple stumbling blocks along the way, but overall I think this setup is going to work for me. There are definitely some challenges using the Miter Express with Jobsite Saw. I added a sacrificial fence to this to help push through larger pieces on the offcut side. I had to set it up on the right side of the blade as the blade tilts to the left on my saw. Not a problem except for when the fence is concerned. I'll show you what I mean as I go through that. I hope this is informative and helps guide your decision around what you want to do for a miter gauge and a crosscut sled for your CTS or probably any other job site saw. I originally went to the store to pick up just the miter gauge. Saw this combo kit. It was, I think, 50 or 60 bucks cheaper. So I thought, hey, you know what? Maybe I'll just get that, hummed and hawed. I ended up driving around, buying just the gauge, driving around the block, realizing, I kind of want the Miter Express. Came back, exchanged it, bought the combo pack. And the reason why I was hesitant is at some point I want to get a cabinet saw. And I thought, well, I don't want to buy a miter gauge, set it up for this, cut the board on this one, and then be out a gauge if I ever upgrade the saw. Did some reading, and I guess it turns out you can just buy the outfeed piece separately for like 35 bucks or something. So I figured, yeah, you know, nothing to lose. I'll give this a try, see how it works, and we will go from there. One of the things I want to talk through is how I'm going to use this and set this up specifically with my SawStop compact table saw. I have seen a couple of reviews of these and people use them with job site saws, but I wanted to give you my experience of setting it up, dialing it in, and using it with the CTS specifically. Okay, here we have the 1000 SE, and here we have the Miter Express. I think we will start with the Miter Express. Okay, so we have instructions. We have the metal bar, we have the MDF table pieces, clamp it, and the fasteners. Okay, so first up is decision time. Do we go on the left or right miter slot? So the guidance in the manual says if your blade tilts to the left, as it does with the CTS, then you should use the right miter slot. Challenge I think I'm going to have is that leaves a whole bunch of the miter table pieces unsupported, so we'll have to see how that goes. I have to say the packaging on this stuff is quite good. It's kind of what I was led to expect from Incra based on some of the reviews I've read and some of the things I've watched. So yeah, no disappointments there. Everything appears to be in good shape, well packaged, no damage. So far, no concerns. Okay, so it looks like the large panel is the piece that you use for the offcut. So we'll put that, just kind of line that up here. The small piece, the T connector. So this is where I think I might have some challenges. As you can see here, the downside of the job site saw is it's unsupported on the right side of the blade. I'm hoping that I'll be able to use the fence support once this is all supported to prop this up and keep it nice and steady. All of the hardware for this seems to be very well labeled. It comes with a couple of Allen keys and all of the required screws. And of course, there's a couple of different lengths of screws here, so you just gotta make sure we're using the right ones. There's 4 longer ones and a jag of short ones here. Now let's set this in the correct miter slot and see. Okay, so this might be okay. Next up is to tighten this up within the miter slot. So this process is definitely a little bit fiddly. There are a couple of slots in the miter track. I don't know if you can see it here in the miter slot that I got some CA glue in them when I was trying to set up my old sled, and I think that might be causing me some problems. So I'm going to run some sandpaper through here and see if that is able to clean it up a little bit. Hopefully that's enough to make it slide well. Okay, so the next step is to run it through. This is the scary part because this is where stuff gets real. I think I'm good. I think everything's lined up. So next up here, we just connect this offcut to the set of holes that overlaps the blade the least. So in my case, that's the closest to the blade. Now, hopefully it's less fiddling around with this miter bar because I think I'm probably not done with my fiddling either. But I'm going to put a tiny little bit of paste wax on to see if that helps things slide a little bit better here. Perfect. Well, that's I'm optimistic about that for sure. I still have a bit of work to do in the miter slots. They're just a little too sticky. I'm going to pop the blade back down here. T-slot retainers, that'll be handy to keep this in the track because obviously I don't have a ton of in-feed depth here. Okay, next up is the glide strips. I waxed the bed of my saw here a minute ago just off camera, so I think I should probably wipe off the wax before I try to adhere. I wonder, maybe let me know in the comments. I hear all the time people cast iron surfaces, wax them, wax planer beds. Anybody with a job site saw wax their table? Like, they're obviously aluminum, they're not going to rust, but is there any advantage to it, or is it just a waste of my time? Yeah, please let me know. So that's the blade side. So this one needs to be on the outside. These two can kind of go towards the middle of their panels. Guess these strips probably make the waxing a little redundant, but nevertheless, here we are. You know what? Very smooth, very tight. I'm happy. And that's it. Next step, when you use this, it says to lock down the outfeed side. Okay, now let's take a look at what's inside the box for the 1000 SE. Kind of the real reason I went to the store the other day. We'll go from there. Okay, so I had some technical difficulties there, but I dug out the Miter Express, which comes assembled. There's a hex bolt you have to remove to free it up. The little T-slot retaining clip that if you're using on your actual T-track, you can install that in the end. I don't need that, so I'm just in the process of installing these cam offset screws into the Miter Express. This came with the Miter Express hardware. This is what secures the miter gauge into the Miter Express. I will drop this guy into where I want it. Okay, so now we are rock solid there. So this is set up for the left side, obviously. So let's see. Now, one of the complaints I've heard about this thing is the need for a bunch of different sized Allen keys. So I suppose I knew that going in, so we'll see how much of a pain in the butt that really is. I'm worried that the fence is going to be problematic and it's not going to allow me to both support the table and use the fence. So we'll see when I get this set up if there's a way to adjust it. But that's my kind of biggest worry with using this on a job site saw. So here's the problem I'm talking about. So I need to make sure that the fence doesn't extend past the cut edge. So you can see we're too close here. That I don't like that. So I'll move that over in a second. And then if I move the fence over, so we're just barely supporting, oh, and we clear. Look at that. Loosen these two guys and slide that towards the fence, clear of the blade. So I am optimistic that this is going to work out okay on the SawStop CTS. Well, that was easy. My copy seems to have come perfectly square to the blade out of the box. We're at 0. Everything looks great. Okay, now that we have this set up, I'm going to take this scrap of Baltic birch plywood I have here and create an auxiliary fence for this. I think that'll be pretty handy. I think I'm going to measure it out from the fence here to about the edge of the table. So I'm going to make it 32 inches and it can't be more than 2.5 inches tall to sit underneath this fence stop here with the miter gauge. So step 1, going to use the crosscut sled to crosscut this down to 32 inches, and then we'll rip it down to 2.5 inches, drill some holes, and get it ready to go. Alrighty, so washer and a nut. Those fit in perfectly, nice and recessed. T-nut slide into the T-track here. Okay, the next step here is to adjust the stop. So what we want to do, take the stop out of the little track, slide it into the set of T-tracks one stop forward. Clip that onto there. Tighten those little painful knurled knobbies. And then we are good. Now we have the stop set up with the sacrificial fence. Alrighty, well, I think I'm going to make a couple of test cuts. One thing I will say is it does get a little bit tiresome with all of these different Allen keys. One of the reviews I watched before I bought this suggested getting a magnet and sticking it up next to the saw and just attach all of the different Allen keys. I will likely do that. I honestly have no problem using Allen keys for stuff like this. It holds secure, it works well. But why is there 4 different sizes? That will be my one thing to Incra. One size Allen key. I'm sure there's got to be a way to make it work. Otherwise, I think I'm fairly content with this. So there you have it. There's the setup and installation of the Miter Express and the 1000 SE on my SawStop CTS. Overall, I'm happy with it. The fence is going to be a little bit challenging, I think. We'll see how that works. We'll see if I get any dip in the table when I have to remove the fence for wider pieces. For small pieces, I think it's going to be great. The accuracy seems to be really good. I will use this in the next day or so with the project I'm working on. I have to do a bunch of cross cuts and a bunch of miters. Excited to see how it works for that. Please, if you found this informative, let me know. Shoot me a comment, a like, a subscribe would be great. It helps the channel grow. And yeah, thanks for watching along. Have a great day.